What would happen if we enunciated our words when we speak like when we sing? I'm Craig Harmon of Harmony Music Education, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about and share with you some ideas on how to enunciate clearly when you sing. You see, one of the challenges when we sing is making sure that we are understood. There aren't many other musical instruments, in fact, really none, that have to worry about this issue because there's no words for instruments to play. But when we sing, there are words, and so this creates a challenge for us when we sing. One of my favorite lines in regard to singing is from the musical The Music Man, where Henry Hill says, "Singing is nothing more than sustained talking." And it's true, to an extent. We use the same mechanisms, we use the same apparatus to sing as we do to speak, and in fact, we sing on different pitches. If I hold this pitch out while I'm talking, well, that would be called chanting, right? And so what we do when we sing is we move those notes up and down. We move those sounds up and down to make sure that there's something musical that's happening there. It's not just droning on one note over and over again. But one of the first assignments that I give to students when I start working with them on voice is not a singing assignment, it's a listening assignment. Because I ask them to listen to people talking. Why? Because we don't enunciate clearly when we talk. And in fact, there are singers out there who don't always enunciate clearly when they sing. A couple examples would be things like, the line that at least many of us hear, calling all you Starbucks lovers from Taylor Swift's Blank Space. Of course, it's not that line. It's got a long list of ex-lovers. But wouldn't that be great advertising for Starbucks? Oh, well. Or what about Elton John's song Tiny Dancer? Hold me closer, Tony Danza? It can be heard that way, yes, I know. Or what about Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana? I don't understand still much of the words that Kurt Cobain sings, even though I've looked at the lyrics, because, well, it's really hard to understand. Or my most favorite meme, it's gonna be May. Not me, but that's what Justin Timberlake was supposed to sing, was me. What came out was May. That's not really enunciation, but it's still a fun one to point out. One of the ones that I harp on repeatedly is from Christian worship leader Chris Tomlin. He had a song years ago called How Great Is Our God. And if you listen to the recorded version of the song, you will not hear how great is our God. You will hear how gray is our God. Yeah, it takes on a different meaning, doesn't it? Personally, I had an experience with this when I was in my first year of directing high school choir. I prepared a piece that was a beautiful piece for Christmas called Whoever Seeks the Christ. And I was so focused on making sure that it sounded beautiful and my students were singing well that I didn't really focus in as much as I should have on the diction. Being a good first-year teacher, I had my video camera out because, yes, it was actually video cameras back then in those olden days, and recorded the concert. And when I went back to listen to that piece, I was in tears. Why? Because they sang, at least this is what was heard, whoever seeks the rice. Yeah. Because I did not teach them to clearly enunciate and overdo the k and the t at the end of the word. And I should have known better, because my high school choir director always said, if you feel like you're overdoing it, you're close to being right. And so, I've really focused in on diction, because making sure that you're understood is kind of the point with singing. Because every other musical instrument uses this language called music to make sound happen. And it is beautiful. It is an emotionally connecting thing. It has this power and depth to it. But I would argue that when you take that beautiful creation called music and you add lyrics, you add words to it, you add another layer of meaning, that takes on a deeper meaning and a deeper connection. But those words have to be understood. This is the important part. And so when we're singing, it's not just enough, and especially at the ends of words, to make sure that those words get enunciated. So how do we do this? Well, it's pretty easy if you have T's or D's or K's at the ends of words to make sure that they're understood. So you, as you're singing, and this really works no matter what style you're singing, to really overemphasize k or d or t. It gets to those f, v, those that take more air to make the sound, to really try to overdo those and push that out even more. The great part of this is if you're singing in a choir, you're singing with other people, that helps because there's strength in numbers. But if you're just singing on your own, trying to really push those out can be a challenge. How do you do it? Well, there's one word. Practice. Keep doing it and be intentional about it. Sometimes it may mean practicing the words, just speaking them without singing them. And I do this with voice students quite often, is that before we look at singing a song, we look at the song, not just to look through, okay, what's the musical line, what's your phrasing, where are you breathing, all of those detailed things that are important and essential, but also to look at the words. Not only what are they saying and how do you emote them as you're singing, but how do you clearly enunciate them so that they're understood? Because really, if we don't enunciate those words so that they're understood, what really then is the purpose of singing words? We could just sing nonsense syllables. We could scat sing. Scooby-doo-ba-dee-ba-dee-ba-da-ba-ba-dee-ba-doo. That works. But it doesn't have any kind of emotional connection at all, right? It's just there. It's sound. It's entertainment. Making sure that we're understood when we sing is so essential. So, get to practicing. Be intentional about it. Try to practice talking clearly with those D's and T's and P's and all of those things. You'll get some really strange looks from people, that's for sure. Because when we talk, we do not talk clearly. We mumble. But singing is sustained talking with a twist.